Oh boy, 3.1 has a lot of new content, but one of the more interesting ones I want to talk about is the free selector we are gonna get. And as opposed to last year, we actually get to choose one of these 5 limited S ranks this time and one of the W engines of choice as well. So today, let's talk about which agent is the best to choose for your account and which W engine to go with. Let's begin with Yugo, cause we can keep it relatively short. Unless you really like Yugo or you already have him at Mindscape 1, I would personally not recommend him. While Yugo's M2 is legit insane and arguably the best Mindscape 2 in the entire game, Yugo nowadays does unfortunately not perform as great and needs some heavy investment for most players to keep up with newer agents. Yugo's signature, on the other hand, is rather good, being effectively the exact same stat stick as Heartstring Nocturne, just about 5% short on crit damage. It is a good crit stat stick for your account and also Alan's best in slot choice. If you really like Yugo, Alan, or you are missing Heartstring Nocturne, Yugo's signature Myriad Eclipse is not a bad choice. zzzero Ambi is nowadays one of the better electric DPSs after her potential unlock, but she is also heavily reliant on her best teammates, namely Orphe and Dylan or maybe Trigger. All of them require rather heavy investment to be a great choice, be it either in terms of discs or substats or W engines. On the other hand, a lot of other and arguably a better electric DPS exists nowadays as well, such as Seed and also more importantly Sissia. Means if you are missing an electric DPS and you have like none, Zambi is a good choice, but otherwise there are better options available. Her signature is a fantastic crit damage stat stick on the other hand, and can be used by many other agents, albeit it is nearly always a worse choice compared to Heartstring Nocturne or Myriad Eclipse, primarily because of how hard it is to build crit rate on many agents. If you like Zambi, it is a good choice, but otherwise I would probably prefer Myriad Eclipse instead. As for Jane, she just keeps winning. Anyway, Jane also has a lot of teams nowadays she is simply good in, with her best team being with Velena. Jane also still up today features one of the best early Mindscapes in the game, and even her M4 isn't all that shabby, and her signature W engine has an absolute insane scaling as well. For more information on that, as well as her upcoming potential unlock, I recommend you to check out my 3.1 updated Jane guide. Well, whenever it is released in the near future, that is. But Jane is on the other hand also pretty reliant on her Mindscapes and also her best teammates to perform well. But if you like Jane and you have Velena or at the very least Nangongyu and Yuzua, I think Jane is one of the better picks for your selector, regardless of whether or not you are looking for an additional Mindscape for her, or well, you simply don't have Jane yet. As for her W engine, it is well usable on Jane, but also Alice and Piper if you do not have Practice Perfection. Sharpened Stinger is still the best choice for Jane, only rivaled by Alice's signature Practice Perfection. While the latter is much easier to play, it is not free and requires Yuzua or Velena and the W engines to be a good choice on Jane. Additionally, as already mentioned before, Sharpened Stinger has one of the best refinement gains in the entire game, and if you like to play Jane, I would recommend this as your pick. It can also be used, again, just fine on Alice and Piper after all. I'll be real, Trigger is nowadays rather mediocre and she is heavily reliant on her signature, like half of her entire utility is locked behind said signature. She is still good for zzzero Ambi and can also find application within C teams as well, albeit she is often outclassed by some other supports here, such as namely Nicole or even Sona when going against Defiler, that is. Her Mindscape 1 is still rather good, but that's about it. If you have Trigger but not her signature and you like playing Trigger and still want to play her, her signature is effectively a must pick up as Trigger's value is heavily reliant on it. But again, I personally do not think Trigger and hence also her signature are still worth it nowadays. Lastly, Lucia. I want to touch on Lucia a little bit more nuanced. The devs have previously effectively confirmed that they want to provide some alternatives to Lucia for Rupture teams, as Rupture nowadays is not very fun to play without Lucia. But at least as of right now, there is no alternative to her, and no, Panda is cope, I'm sorry. The difference between having Lucia and not having her for Rupture teams are easily 10 to 15,000 points. Nearly the same can also be said for his signature, but while it is needed, it is a massive damage boost to Rupture teams as well. Also, it makes building her easier. So, if you are impatient and you do not want to wait for a Lucia alternative for your Rupture teams, and if you play Rupture at all, I mean, that's also kinda important, Lucia and also W-Engine are, in my opinion, the by far best pickup from this selector. As for Mindscapes, both her M1 and M2 are great, but I would probably prefer to get more agents rather than Mindscapes. If unsure, however, Lucia is still a good choice for an additional Mindscape. Unless you already have Jane. In that case, I guess pick Jane's Mindscape. So, to summarize, in my opinion, if you play Rupture and do not have Lucia or her W-Engine yet, that is your best choice. After that comes Jane, who is still a fantastic pickup, and she has the best Mindscape options available outside of Yugo's M2. Especially her M2 is a massive power boost for both Velena and also mono-physical teams with Alice, and her signature is great on her while also being usable on Alice and Piper as well. However, Jane is available in the shop, and so is her signature. So you might want to hold off on Jane or her signature, as there are other ways to obtain her without a rerun banner. This is especially true for her signature, as it is also rather easily obtainable for free-to-play players as opposed to Jane herself. I would not recommend Yugo for most players out there unless you really like him or you can get his Mindscape toothed with the selector, and the same goes for Trigger, well, except the M2 part. Yugo's signature is a great choice, however, if you do select Yugo or simply like playing Ellen. Or you don't have Heartstring Nocturne. Lastly, as for Sambi, if you do not have Seed or Sisia, or ideally both, Sambi is still good. She is just outclassed by them, and Sambi also really likes her Obel Squad teammate, namely Orphe. Means, unless you have Orphe and either of Trigger or Dialyn, I personally would not recommend Sambi. TLDR being, pick Lucia or Jane. And with that, we are at the end of the video. I will also be releasing another video on the spending event, probably, I don't know, in like 3 hours or something, who knows, as well as a video on the 3 agents joining the standard banner, so subscribe to stay tuned for those. Don't forget to like, let me know in the comments on who you will choose, and of course, join the Discord. A special shout out goes to my Patreon members who make this content possible. I appreciate all of you, and wish you a great day. Peace!